what's been pissing me off about Fallout is, as someone who has always enjoyed the games, excuse me, as someone who has always enjoyed the games, one of the things that I always really liked about the games is it really was just about how people are shitty. Like, that was kind of the main core of it. Like, it didn't matter if it was capitalist, it didn't matter if it was the government. Like, you know, in Fallout New Vegas, for instance, there are all these different factions, all these different types of people who either do the right thing or they do the incorrect thing. Like, see, like Kaiser's Legion is not great, the NCR isn't great, the Brotherhood isn't great. Like, none of these factions are good factions. And I don't think Fallout necessarily plays that card. I think they're at least willing to be critical of those factions. But look, I think in the end, like at the end of season 1, there was this huge reveal that all these corporations got together and decided to nuke all the citizens of the United States, all their customers, right? Like, these people who want to sell things. They think it's a great idea to nuke their customers. Like, that at face value is just cartoonish and stupid. I think if you look at something like game theory, like I find it highly unlikely that these businesses would even trust each other enough to be like, get together and be like, okay, we're gonna have one unified thing. When that happens, it's the government almost every time. And also, not to mention, like, people talk about this with like the nukes with libertarians, but like, you know who created the nukes in the first place? It was the fucking government. I think it would have been, maybe it would have happened eventually, but I highly doubt it would have happened to the scale that it happened to if it was not for the government. So that's something to consider too. But this new season of Fallout has, and so for the last season, I mean, it kind of ended with that, but I came away from the whole season like liking it overall. I'm like, they really got the vibe of the games. They really like all these things. Like, they brought new stuff as well, and but like none of it seemed like cliche or like out of character. Like, the humor of the show was spot on, and I really came away liking it, and I was really excited for season 2. However, I rage quit on episode 3 of season 2. When it opened up, this wasn't the point, but it opened up with one of the characters running a child's sweatshop, right? And I'm not going to sit here and act like that never happens, right? I'm not going to sit here and act like child exploitation happens. But just like with the DEI messaging, right? Like, the people who are watching these shows aren't critically thinking through this. They're not critically thinking like, oh, is this an accurate depiction? Like, they're being fed a message, and then there's this little part in their brain that says, oh, that's how it is. And, you know, the creators of the show have apparently, said that they are not anti-capitalist, that's not the messaging of the show. But then also they'll say that they believe corporations are the biggest evil. So it's like, yeah, that kind of, those kind of two things kind of cancel each other out, right? And even if it's unbiased, like, or not unbiased, even if it's unintentional bias, like, even if they don't actually think that that's the case, like that intrinsic bias is going to play a part into them creating the show, right? So one of the things that really upset me about that was just this barrage of hating on capitalism, and I think, like, really not even capitalism, but corporations. And I think this is just like, this is almost, I mean, talk about intentionality. I think this has been an intentionality, is that these corporations, the reason that they're corporations is because of the government. Plain and simple. They are backed by the big banks. They can't truly fail. Like, if I were to start a business, there's a very good chance of me failing. When you're a corporation, there's almost no chance of you failing. And even if you do fail, you've made so much fucking money that you can just go right around, start a new business, and have your placeholder. Similar to like the Somali stuff, right? Like how there were childcares that failed, and then they just opened up a new childcare literally in the same building and had the same amount of money. It's like there's no competition in that, right? And one of the things about Fallout that was always so great to me was like there was kind of a sense of like free market capitalism. Like you would go to these different places and people would have things to sell and you would buy them. And I'm like, yeah, that like in a post-nuclear Fallout situation, that would probably happen to some extent because that is the human thing to do. The human thing to do is capitalism, is to say, I have a product, you have something to trade, money or another product or whatever, and let's make this mutual exchange. Government is not human. Government is the mob, essentially. I mean, literally the mob. And when these corporations act like mobs, they're acting more akin to government. And there's also just an irony in the fact that, like, you know, Amazon is one of the biggest corporations in the world, and they're going to produce a show that has an anti-capitalist messaging, right? Look, like, there's a reason that all these corporations all side with government. They all want these government initiatives. Like, look, if it was true that, like, free market capitalism and anarchism was, like, the true way to selfishness, all these corporate people, all these business people, they would all be that at their core. But they're not. They all support, like, EBT and, like, universal basic income and, like, all these, like, they all support these government initiatives. Elon Musk has talked about how he thinks that humans should just have universal basic income. And it's like, what, like, the guy who's, like, the quote unquote, like, one of the biggest capitalists in the world, supposedly, like, he still wants all these government programs. So the messaging was clear. I thought, you know, and it pissed me off. It pissed me off. I was so hyped about Fallout, and they ruined it. I had Fallout on wallpaper. I changed it to Tim Waltz. I'll show you guys right now. It's Tim Waltz sucking cum from a horse, right? And you know, it's just sad. It's sad because that was one of the few shows that I actually felt were, like, for the most part, avoiding all this crap, like, that were not tainted by, like, the woke mob or whatever. But it, you know, season 2 came around and it ended up not being the case, so that was really disappointing. Look, I think if you're truly to make a show, and this is someone who, you know, went to school for video production, I feel like has a pretty good understanding of this. Like, it is possible to make media that both A, includes all these people, and B, is unbiased. I'm reading this book right now called The Little Life, and it's really hard to get through because it's just, people have called it trauma porn. I don't know, it might be, but one of the things that really struck out to me that I just love about that book is there's no, like, political bend to these characters' identities. Like, there are multiple characters that are gay, there are multiple characters that are black, and they all just exist. They're all friends. Like, if it rarely comes up, but if it ever does, it's in a joking manner. Nobody's offended, right? There's even a part in the book where, like, they thought, like, it's either someone made the joke or, like, misunderstood it, but, like, they thought they were coming out of the closet, like, they were coming out as trans, and, like, it was wild to read because, like, in that context, they were just all laughing and they were like, "Oh, that's hilarious that you would think that." But, like, in today's context, that would be like completely different. Like, nobody would be able to joke about that, right? Because they would be scared to be canceled or whatever. But anyways, I say all that to say that, like, I feel like there was this brief time in, like, from like the mid 2000s to, like, 2013, 2014, where there was true diversity. Like, there was true diversity of, like, both color or race or whatever, sexuality, and just ideas in general. Like, you know, there are movies where, like, yeah, the government sucks, and then these corporations also suck. And there are also people who run mom and pop shops who are also shitty, right? Like nobody is benign from this. But when you have shows that steer in this direction of, like, capitalism bad, capitalism bad, capitalism bad, we are literally using capitalism, well, crony capitalism, but it's, you know, pseudo capitalism, not even I don't even like calling it capitalism. Like, I don't like attributing crony capitalism to that. It's just kind of a thing that gets attributed a lot. But when I think of capitalism, I think of, like, free trade, free market capitalism. And when I think of crony capitalism, I think of the mob, which is essentially the government. But anyways, I just wanted to give my review on that show.